just what I told the team the other day. He missed the kick. It's very evident. We all know that. But what we don't know is I take the fault for the kick because we kind of broke code of how we prepare all the time because of the facilities and because of the time of year that we're playing, and we're forced into some facilities that don't have goalposts. And it's taken away from. I should have found him a place to kick, in the same routine that we always have when we've had the dome, of course. And we weren't allowed to do that because of facilities and how much we kick on Thursdays and things like that. So to me, kicking is muscle memory. And the key is for muscle memory, it's just like anybody. You got to do it every day. You got to do it in sequence, and you got to have a rhythm. And when you don't have that practice time to do it, then your swing can vary. And so I take fault for the missed kick of not finding him that place to go do that. And as a kicker, he just needs to know that, the next kick is his biggest kick now. He just has to get ready for the next kick, and it's not the one that just happened. It's the one that's going to happen in the next football game. So he'll prepare. He's sound, but it's hard on anybody to go through that and not make that kick. But there's a lot of other plays that could have been made in that game as well. So there's no fault to put on anybody. It's just that I just have to make sure that I get him in a position so that he can do the same type of drills and practicing that everybody else does on a daily basis. So that's kind of the result of that.
When it comes to the offense, they're gaining yards. They're just struggling to get 6-7 points up on the board. I have to imagine that might even be more frustrating than when the offense is going nowhere because you're moving the ball. You're just not getting the 7 points at the end of drives. So what are you guys seeing on the tape? What do your conversations tell you about putting your finger on this problem?
Well, we're working on that. We went back and took a hard look at that, particularly after this last football game. But we've been looking at it the whole time, and again, there's a lot of things that we can find some things to change and do better. It does come down to a lot of the logistical things that we're doing right now. So one, it is football. It's an answer of football and schemes and players and execution. There's no question that's all a part of it. It's just like the kick. But at the same time, logistically, we have to practice those things and have the time to get to those things and to do them in a way that you're going to have results from them. And so we don't make excuses for anything. Those are things that we're looking at, and we're trying to find the right thing to do and the most efficient way to do it. Because there are restraints right now in this time of season to get some things done because of the time restraints we have academically and facility-wise and moving around-wise. And, there's a lot of things that are playing into this that also weigh, to a degree, some of it. But as you said, everybody thinks of the execution and the practice and the schemes and those types of things. Those are the common sense answers, but there's other things that play into this too that we have to secure for our team.
In particular, in the offense with Will, just looking over his body of work through 4 games, good, bad, indifferent, what's sticking out to you about Will right now?
I thought Will really progressed this week, and I thought it was important to progress this week. He probably did not have a very good game 2 weeks ago. And we challenged him this week, and I thought he really stepped up to the challenge of throwing the football. We had 3 explosive plays in the throwing game. He really made a difference, and he threw the ball away when he needed to preserve drives and to continue drives. And I think the most critical development that you saw from Will this week is on a 4th and 10 with the game on the line. He stood in the pocket and threw a very tight-fitting football to a player instead of trying to run out of a situation. He stayed with the call. He stayed with the receiver, and he stepped up in the pocket. And I think that was the greatest show of development that anybody could see visibly through his development from week 3 to week 4. So that's what he needs to do, and he did that. And he trusted his teammates, and his teammates trusted him. So those are the things that we need to see continued growth on from Will, and I thought we saw that this past week.
Finally, for me, Mark, I wanted to ask you about Riley Van Bly. He led your team in tackles on Saturday, and everybody knows that losing Bryce later was a huge loss, but Riley's really been able to come in and fill those shoes. So what's had him or positioned him to be able to produce like this?
Well, Riley is just like Riley prepares every day since he's been here like he's going to be the starter, and that's always been his goal and his aspiration. That's what he's always worked towards. And to his credit, because he came in the same time that Flater did, and so they're in the same class. But to Riley's credit, his determination, his work ethic, and his perseverance is probably the biggest attribute he has, because he's really persevered through waiting for his turn. But when his turn showed up, as we can all learn from him, is that when it did show up, he was ready and prepared for it, and now he's been very productive in it. So that's what we tell our players the day they walk in the door, is prepare for that. We're going to prepare the number twos just as much as we're preparing the number ones, equal reps. And when your time comes, you need to be able to step on the field and produce, because then you will get more opportunities. And Riley has gained our trust as coaches, his trust of his teammates, to do his job and be where he's supposed to be. And he's a great communicator as well, because he had to make some decisions on the field, even particularly in the Southern Illinois game. He had to make calls on the field after they broke the huddle to get us in the right defense, and then play his own defense and play his own position. So Riley's put a lot of time into what he did the other day, so it doesn't surprise me because of how he prepares every day since he's been here.
Thanks, Mark.
Coach, another defender, Corby Sander, 2 full calendar years in between games, missing all of the 2019 season. I know he appreciated the extra rehab time, but maybe just how impressive is it he's coming back? What are you seeing from him here this season so far?
Well, we're very pleased with Corby, because he was out for 2 years, essentially with the injury when you add COVID into it. So you just don't run out on the football field and start playing the way that you did 2 years previous to being at the top of your game. So he has been through a lot of adversity to get back to where he's at today. But I think these past games, each one, he's becoming more comfortable with what he's doing within the system, because he's being more fluent, he's being more reactive, which in turn he's just being more aware and football savvy because of the experience that he's getting back. So he's been playing very well, and each week he's gotten better. And I think it has a lot to do with, like you said, there was time off. There a long period of time off for him, and the only way to gain that experience is actually Saturday afternoons is the best place to get it. And he's making the most of his opportunity, and that's what's great about this football team is, Cole asked about, what do you do with the kicker? We talked about Riley Van Wy. We talked about Corby Sanders. When we look at our football team, we've got tremendous young men, and when I say that, not only they're good people, but man, they prepare, they train, and they all have the same mindset that they're getting ready for their opportunity. And when that opportunity comes, they know that they have to produce. And that's how you gain the trust, but that's also how you become a great player, is putting in the time before you're a starter, because when your time does come, there's only 70 snaps, but 2 years worth of work that went into those 70 snaps too. So that's how you make it in life, and that's why I'm very pleased with our football team, with where they're at right now. They're 2 plays away from being having a lot of things going right for them, and yet they're so resilient that they're ready for the next challenge as we get ready for this week.
One more on Corby, Coach. He's kind of one of those upperclassmen in that secondary that's still a fairly young secondary, or at least young to you and I. Football, how important is Corby from that veteran standpoint?
Corby's critical. I mean, Corby, the position he plays it's a communicative position. It isn't just do your job. It's coordinate the coverage after they break their huddle. So we do a lot of things on the line of scrimmage, and it takes classroom time as much as it takes field time to get ready to do that. And Corby is that person in the secondary that coordinates that call to everybody before he even has to do his own job, just like Riley is to the front, Corby is to the secondary. So, yeah, talking about those two guys, give you a great feeling about your football team when you bring those two guys up, and yet you go back and you feel bad for what happened to Matthew Cook in the situation that he got put into, because he's as critical to the core group of the special teams as the two that we're talking about with Riley and Corby, and that's why we're the team we are, is because of guys like Matt Cook and Riley Van Wyne, Corby Sanders.
Looking at this Missouri State football team, transfer quarterback, they've got a lot of weapons at wide receiver. Where do you see them having the strengths on the offense, and then what do you see the strengths of their defense?
Oh, there's no question the quarterback is their strength. As you watch him, he's an exceptional athlete, and he's got some exceptional receivers to throw to. So he is definitely a difference maker for him, and has won games for him, and really helped him this season, and even last, because they played in the fall. So he's definitely a factor in every game because of the talent that he is and the receivers that he's throwing to. And then defensively, they're doing a very good job as well. I mean, they're playing good defense, and their team aspect, they've done a great job throughout this season, and like you mentioned, their talent is very challenging.
Facing Bobby Petrino for the first time, do you look back at other Bobby Petrino teams? You mostly just focus on the film you've seen from them this fall and spring?
Yeah, we're going to watch Missouri State, and it's the Missouri State football team. He's the one that is the dynamics of the team and the base of the team. So you see Coach Petrino through his players play is very similar to what you've seen other Coach Petrino's teams do when you see him on the field, and they exhibit a lot of the same traits. Even as early as he's been with the program, he's made a difference in the program. So there's no question. You see those traits, and we already talked about the quarterback, and he's known as a quarterback coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Coach, just real quick, you're mentioning the facilities, the issues you had last week. Do you anticipate more of a normal practice schedule this week, or kind of how does the week line up here for your program?
Yeah, we actually get the dome this week, and so we get back in on a normal schedule for us, and we're just to nobody's fault here. I mean, everybody, we've got sports shows and farm shows and things that are very important to this university, very important to our athletic department, and those things we have to do those things. And then we, as a football team in the spring now, we have to find ways to find the facilities with field goals posts in them, and times of days and academics. And when I say facilities, it's more logistics of class time, and then when these facilities are available outside of our own, that we can go use, because there's other people using those facilities as well. So we're at the I don't want to say the mercy, but because of other facilities, but we're just thankful to get to use these facilities. There are people going out of their way to try to help us. So I mean, it's been a phenomenal effort by our athletic administration, by our neighbors within the Cedar Valley to help us find these places, and they've done everything to make them available to us. But when you have lightning storms on Wednesday nights and things like that, and our tornado watches, it kind of takes you away from the timetables that you're limited to, and then you got to go find other places. So we're doing the best we can. But going back to the kick, I blame myself for the missed kick, not Cook, because he works at this every day of the week. I should have had him a place that he could have had a routine rhythm in, like he has every year that he's been here, and but we had to break that rhythm, and I should have found him a place, or had a place for him, and we did during the week, but at the same time we didn't do it enough, and that's more on me than it is on Matthew. Matthew's a great kicker, and I'd put him out there every time to make that kick.